Folks like me will do anything they can to bring the scoop and to bring the information to the forefront without actually infringing on paid-for material paywalls. So I'm going to leave a link in the description to this piece on The Athletic from August 14th. It is James Myrtle's mailbag, talking about a rapidly rising NHL salary cap and whether or not this will end the parity era in the NHL. Parity? I mean, we've had the same team win the Stanley Cup so many times the past few years, so I don't know about parity, but still, James Myrtle's mailbag will be linked in the description. If you have The Athletic, you could go out there and read it yourself, but there was a very particular tweet that went viral that talked about a quote from this mailbag, and we're going to dive into it here. It talks about the Detroit Red Wings, and it talks about one of the names that they had been linked to heading into July 1st and free agency in 2025. This is what NHL Rumor Report went out there and tweeted earlier in the week. James Myrtle said on his mailbag on The Athletic, "I know Detroit was pushing for some of the top potential UFAs this summer. Aaron Ekblad, in particular, could have signed for a much thicker AAV in Detroit than the $6.1 million he took with Florida." And here's the thing. When it comes to Florida Panthers defenseman Aaron Ekblad, we had made our few videos, we did have our few conversations discussing the idea of Ekblad to Detroit. It was pretty heavily documented as something that the Red Wings were targeting. And for good reason, too. Ekblad is 29 years old, 6'4", 220, right-handed guy, first overall pick, and I believe he was also granted exceptional status. Is that correct? Yes, he was. Exceptional player status given to him in 2011. So that put Ekblad in the same conversation as guys like John Tavares and Connor McDavid. And I mean, he did go first overall after all, so he did pretty all right in that department. Also ended up winning the Calder, I think. Didn't he get the Rookie of the Year? Yes, he did. So Ekblad has been a very good defender for the majority of his NHL career. There were some injury struggles that he had in the past few seasons. It's why his games played numbers were dipping a little bit the past few years. This previous season, I mean, the guy didn't miss out on games because of injury. He missed out on games because he got caught for doping, which is an entirely other conversation in itself. But Aaron Ekblad, 29 years old, is a guy who can be a number one defenseman. He played 30-minute games here for the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Okay, overtime. It's a little bit different, but he did have consistent 20, 22, 24-plus minute nights throughout the course of the season here. He's a very important player. He's a number one right-handed two-way defenseman. And he just re-signed in Florida for $6.1 million a year, a contract that is literally 8 years long. So he took the max term to stick around in sunny state Florida to stay with a championship caliber team, making a dollar amount that he probably would not have gotten elsewhere, because had he gone elsewhere, he would have gotten a lot more money. Now, when it comes to this Detroit Red Wings report, we actually have another article that I'm going to leave a link to in the description as well that was published on ProHockeyRumors.com. The writer here is Brendan McLean, who went out there and summarized the Aaron Ekblad Detroit Red Wings thing from the James Myrtle Athletic piece. This article is not behind a paywall. The Athletic one is, so we're going to go out there and read this article because it pretty much has some of the same information. Take a look at what is written about here. On the heels of winning their second consecutive Stanley Cup championship, the Florida Panthers continued to impress the hockey world by re-signing their three biggest pending UFAs entering the offseason: Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, and Aaron Ekblad. Even more impressively, the Panthers were able to re-sign the latter two for deals well short of their projected value on the open market. Since it's well known that Ekblad especially turned down some serious money to return to the only organization he's ever known, in a new mailbag with James Myrtle of The Athletic, Myrtle claims that the Detroit Red Wings were ready and willing to give Ekblad a notable payday to move north for likely the remaining years of his pro career. While that may be true, we'll never know what the Red Wings were willing to offer Ekblad since he never reached UFA status. Therefore, he couldn't negotiate with other teams. Mrtka argued in the Athletic piece that Ekblad's situation might be different due to his strong affection for the Panthers organization. However, most top-tier free agents are reluctant to sign with Detroit, as the team has not made the postseason since 2015-16 and has not won a playoff series since the lockout-shortened 2012-2013 campaign. Still, the Red Wings will enter the 25-26 season with the 7th most cap space of any team, and will have even more for what is shaping to be a loaded free agent class next summer. So, is that the situation here with the Detroit Red Wings? Are they just going to be waiting for free agency in 2026? Either way, it was already reported that Ekblad was a target for Stevie Y and his squad, and we've been talking about this the entire offseason, like, oh yeah, it's obvious why that would be the case. You think about Moritz Seider and the previous year that he had. Sure, he's a good player, he's very strong, he's very capable, he's very competent, but he's like one of the only guys on the right side that's able to be a consistent top 2, let alone even top 4 guy. Albert Johansson is a good name, but he's young, so you can't really throw him to the wolves just yet. Edvinson's on the left, so it's a little bit different there. Mo Seider needs some very, very big support on the right side, and it's really going to boil down to what the rest of these right side D-men can provide for the Red Wings that will alleviate the pressure for Mo Seider heading into next year. The fact is, you can count on Seider to be an all-situations kind of guy, but at what point do you say, hey, we're relying on this guy too much? So grab on a guy like Aaron Ekblad who can do, I'd say, roughly the same things that Seider can do, especially when you talk about the minutes played per game. Ekblad can be a 23-plus minute per night right-handed defenseman, so can Seider. If you have two of these guys taking on big minutes, all of a sudden the rest of your right side decor can breathe a little bit. And of course, Ekblad's presence on the Red Wings would have allowed Seider to breathe a little bit more too. There was a very big need, and the Red Wings were not able to address it because Ekblad did not end up going to free agency. Now, thinking about some of these other dudes, I mean, we'll see whether or not Albert Johansson and Jacob Bernard-Docker or Axel Sandin-Pellikka can come in and have a very big minutes-eating role with the Red Wings to alleviate some of that Seider pressure. But the point remains here, man. This guy is so good. You just don't want to overuse him. You don't want to overexpose him. You don't want to just trust him in every single situation, because that's not healthy to put all of the weight onto one guy. I mean, he's playing with Ben Sherratt, for crying out loud. You kind of need to put things in that way just so the decor is a little bit more spread out and you don't have all of your top talent on one pair, like if you had Edvinsson and Seider together, for example. So it is kind of disheartening, I feel, to hear that Aaron Ekblad would have been a big target for Detroit. He would have probably gotten a huge AAV pay raise, maybe in the $7.5, $8.5 million range had he hit the free agent market, maybe even more than that. Noah Dobson just got 9.5, Evan Bouchard got 8 digits. We know that right-handed defensemen are a premium, and this guy ended up signing for just $6.1 million. Like, that is ridiculous. He took less money on this new contract with 2 Stanley Cups to his name and his retirement years playing out on this deal as well, just so he can stay in Florida. Sorry, Stevie Y, but there was no chance he would have been able to compete with that. So, with all this in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about how Detroit wanted to go out there and pay Aaron Ekblad his money, only for him to just re-sign in Florida. It goes hand in hand with what Yzerman'S said about how all the guys they wanted ended up staying. How does this make you feel as a Red Wings fan? What do you think the team could have looked like if they had Ekblad on the right side on their decor? Let me know in the comments section all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.